how to attain excellence in our lives and the
And
pursuit.
what made you want to pursue
Started,
excellence
I
rather
grew
than
up in the
just
suburbs, but I farmed on the weekend, so I'm a suburban kid, but also had a tie to the rural farming aspect of things. So agriculture is in my blood. When you have failed something and knowing that you didn't put your spirit, mind, and body and did not push them to the limits to achieve that. So that's the
from failure much is learned, as long as you're willing to be open and receptive to that. So you can. Hi, I'm Walter. I'm the Dutch mentor. Welcome back to the Smart Performance Podcast, where S stands for self-care, M for mindful growth, A for adaptive problem solving, R for rhythmic operation, T, of course, for building that thriving community, and P for performance. Today, Clark and I are going to be talking about the pursuit to excellence. It's often very elusive to many of us, and not because we don't have the technical skills, but often because we don't have the right behaviors. But we're going to dive right into it in a couple of minutes. And remember that today it's 15 minutes, very focused, very quick, but there will be actionable takeaways that you can put into place later today, certainly by tomorrow morning, so you can make adjustments to your behaviors that will lead you to whatever it is that you want to do. Clark, thank you very much for joining me in conversation today, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me on. It really is a pleasure, and I'm excited to talk about, how to attain excellence in our lives and the pursuit therein. My name's Clark Bell. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Um, I started a company called Nano Yield in 2014, and I reside as the chief executive officer and the founder of that company.
Excellent. And of course, the pursuit of excellence, sometimes people are born with that, others are discover that there might be a period of time that they need to do that in order to be able to provide for their families. Tell me a little bit about your journey specifically and where you started. How did you get to become an entrepreneur? And what made you want to pursue excellence rather than just being one of the boys?
Yeah, of course. I grew up in the suburbs, but I farmed on the weekend. So I'm a suburban kid, but also had a tie to the rural farming aspect of things. So agriculture is in my blood. In some shape or form, my family has been involved in agribusiness since the 1850s. So agriculture is a big part of who we are. I grew up working on my farm when I was 9 years old and learned a lot of great traits and achieved, learning about work ethic, putting in your best effort, and of course, more so by the sweat of your brow is how you can get things done, right? And so, very invaluable lessons that were taught to me by my father, my grandfather, my grandmother, and my mom. Super grateful for them. And for me, ever since I learned that, when I really put my whole heart into something and I put my spirit into something, and when I achieve something, that's what excellence is, right? And so we'll certainly dive into that furthermore. From the age of 9 till about 18, was going through my schooling, and of course was still working on the family business. When I turned 19, I served a 2-year service mission for my church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, where I served in California, San Diego. Also had great mentors and learned a lot of rich and valuable lessons about how to work hard and how to serve other people. Because at the end of the day, pure excellence is by serving and helping other people, right? It's not by the amount of money in our bank account. It's not about, the impact that we have to make our brand, really well known. It's about how many people did you impact in your life. Following serving my church for 2 years, I came home, started my college career, and from there started many different businesses as I was going through college, figuring out what I wanted to do. Right before I turned 30, I started Nano Yield with my business partner Mike Bullock and with my father Warren Bell, and I've been on that journey now for the past 13 years, which has been a really really fun journey for me, and has been after my marriage and raising my children has been the most rewarding part of my life.
Thank you for sharing that story. You know, excellence is defined by oneself. I did that. There's a slightly different viewpoint to that. I too grew up on the farm. I started farming at 11 years old. Uh, First babysitting the kids, and then very shortly after that, taking care of 60, 70 had a cow before coming to school.
You know hard work then, yes.
I know hard work. Listen, I was welding and doing whatever else needed to be done around the farm at a very young age, and those lessons were extremely. It's certainly been a key driver for me in my life, and I love the fact that you did your 2 years of community service, paying it forward. It has to be a cornerstone of anybody who works. certainly for people like myself who have in a lifetime in healthcare, it's something near and dear to my heart, and I encourage people in every conversation, certainly the people that I mentor, to pick up some volunteer work because there's nothing better than paying it forward in that sense. So thank you for sharing it. So tell me a little bit about what does the word excellence mean to you, and how do you speak about excellence to others?
Yeah, I think excellence is striving to make you, it's the pursuit of making yourself, your group, your family, your community better, right? And so the opposite of excellence to me is when you have failed something and knowing that you didn't put your spirit, mind, and body and did not push them to the limits to achieve that. So that's the opposite of excellence. And so often, I think we see so many people that go throughout this world and they live this life where they really never push the limits of their mind, body, and spirit, right? And whenever I have failed and knowing that I didn't put my mind, body, and spirit and did not stretch them to its full capacity, that's where I have experienced the most failure and regret. There's been times when I've been trying to achieve something and I did put my mind, body, and spirit and stretched it to everything that I could do. And I did not achieve that goal of what we were trying to achieve, but I still did that. And to me, that is how excellence is defined, is knowing that you put your heart, mind, body, spirit, everything into it to achieve what you wanted to achieve. So for me, excellence isn't so much actually getting to the top of the mountain. It's about the pursuit of what you did to change yourself when you went to that peak of that mountain. That to me is how you define excellence.
Yeah,
We have these words such as excellence and we have successful, and different people view that. To me, it's the pursuit of excellence is what defines us as human beings.
yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think that fail fast, fail forward is another one of these good philosophies that uh, we if you don't try hard enough, you'll never fail at anything.
Yes.
From failure, much is learned as long as you're willing to be open and receptive to that. So I can and will not repeat the same mistakes over and over. You can actually learn and make progression from that. And of course, it's not about climbing a career ladder because I think a mother can be in her most excellence of state by just providing for their children. Right? It's no different for a father or mother for that matter. But it really is interesting. In conversation, did you write a book about it? Have you? How do you share your message? How do you get the word out? Or getting people to really understand what excellence is, and what steps they need to take for themselves. Is there methodology on how to get onto that pursuit?
Yeah, I think so. I think first and foremost, you have to define what your purpose is on this earth, right? We all have a purpose of being a father, a husband, a child, a son, a brother, whatever that's going to be, right? That's innate and comes to us, and right. And I think everyone is very committed to their family and to into what's going on there. Past that, there's two ways that you can find your purpose, right? And if you go all in on an organization, this could be a business, this could be a nonprofit, this could be a sports team, and then also go all in on your community, which is your greater surrounding area, and being committed to making both of those better. And defining what better is
Yeah,
completely up to you.
yeah,
In the business sense, it can be from we want to go from $1 million in sales to $10 million in sales, and we want to do that in 3 years. If you're coaching a sports team, you're taking a team that was 4-6, 4 wins, 6 losses, and in the next 2 years, we want to go to 8 wins and 2 losses. That's the pursuit, right? And so we have this thing that we put as the numerator of how we're trying to obtain that excellence. But you have to first define what is your purpose and what you're really passionate about, and then being fully committed by again putting your heart, mind, body, and spirit to attaining that pursuit and that purpose that you've put out for yourself.
yeah. It's good to hear that. Is that I use the 4 P's, connecting purpose and passion on the heart level, and then connecting it to the people and processes,
Yes.
who you want to work with and where you want to work in order to be able to bring the best out of yourself, and again to whatever level you feel you're satisfied at. Let's make this actionable, right? So what is the first thing somebody should do to start really understanding what their journey is going to be, or how to find what they feel truly passionate and purposeful about?
Yes, I call it YLJ, your life's journey, right? Everybody has a unique journey that they've been on this path. You might have grown up in a family and had a parent that was a drug addict. You might have, had a sibling that passed away at a young age. You might have, had one of your fingers that got caught off by the tractor. These are all unique things about your life where you've had adversity that you've had to go through. Most people, they just say, well, I lost my finger, when I was 11 years old, when I was, loading alfalfa into a trailer, that pressure took it off, and they just discount that. Where in many ways, when you really look at the adversity that you faced in your life and you position that to understand how that emulated you, who you are as a person, is the number one thing you have to do is understanding your journey and defining yourself as a hero in that journey. First thing you got to do is you have to see, well, once I had an obstacle, two, this is how I overcame it. And three, this was a gift for me that helped me find my purpose. And now I can connect with other people because of that said adversity that happened. Next, the fourth step you need to do is then, because of that adversity and what I learned from it, here is the purpose of how I'm going to use that life journey to define purpose for myself in life. Now, every single person on this earth was created differently by God. All of us have what I call our invisible ingredients. These invisible ingredients are unique to all of us. Some people are super congenial. Some people are super analytical and can see things that other people can't see. Some people are great at predicting the future. Some people are great at looking at data that's current to help us understand the future. You have to then define what are your 2 or 3 invisible ingredients that make it so that you are able to lead a group or you are able to be a great technician that can do something great. And once you define your purpose, have that life journey and those invisible ingredients, it's putting that all into a soup, baking that soup, cooking it up, and then putting that into what you're committed to in life. And that's where you will find that pursuit of excellence, is by defining all those roles and then chasing that excellence that you want to achieve in your life.
Rock solid advice. Now, what vehicle do you suggest people use? Should they be journaling? Should they be having, seeking out a coach, a mentor, a guide, a spiritual guide in order to go through that discovery process?
Yeah, I think for me, I think it's different for everyone. There's times in my life where I'm writing a book or I'm writing down my thoughts often, and then I'll step away for that for 90 days and I'll collect my thoughts and I'll be very introspective, and then I'll then go back to that. I definitely recommend to all people to have coaches and mentors in every aspect of your life. The mentors that I had 3 years ago and the coaches I had 3 years ago are completely different than the coaches I have right now, right? One of my mentors who I met with this morning for an hour, he was a chief officer of a $7 billion company. The advice that he's given me now in comparison to where I was with my business 3 years ago are completely different. He wouldn't have helped me at all, right? Those are different problems that I need to solve. And so I think first is defining your purpose, knowing what your invisible ingredients are, learning from your life journal, and then again, finding the path of pursuit of excellence that you're trying to define and going towards that, and then making sure that everybody on your bench, on your starting lineup, is committed to helping you achieve that. You have to tell people, these are my goals. Can you help me reach those goals? And again, this can be on coaching a little team. This can be in your small business. This can be in a Fortune 500 company. That pursuit is, of course, finding those people that are there to help you. And then, of course, for you to introspective, always be thinking about how you can achieve this greatness that you've defined for yourself in your life.
Yeah. Very interesting. I would add one thing to that measurement. I encourage people not only to document the journeys, but also send key milestones, so something they can strive for and hold themselves accountable. And then, of course, work with a coach, mentor, or just an accountability buddy so they can meet those milestones. It's the habits and behavior. It's really the behaviors of people that holds them back more often than not. And anybody says I can do this alone is often, comes up short on their stated goals and ambitions. The best people, the best leaders in the world will outright tell you that they didn't get there on their own. Right? Besides maybe a really good spouse, they had great coaches and mentors. No different than the people who went to the Olympics. None of them got there by chance or without a coach and a mentor itself. So just out of curiosity, quick, tell me a little bit about your business. Give me a 1-minute version of what the nanotechnology is that you're using in agriculture. I assume it's
Yes. Yes, correct. The company's called NanoYield. We have patented and put together numerous formulas of nanotechnology that can use the increase of efficiency in fertilizer and crop protection products. Company started in 2014. We're now in 12 million acres and have made a wonderful distribution network and helped many people make a lot of money and even more importantly, make a dent in their community by helping those that are around them. Started that company with my friends, and I'm accountable to my board of directors and my leadership team that I manage. And because of all those people that I'm surrounded by, that I was able to guide and lead, it's made me just constantly be looking for that pursuit of excellence as it's defined within my business. And one thing I think that's really important, you talk about that accountability. One thing that I do as a check-in with my officers in my C-suite and also with my vice presidents is oftentimes we get so caught up in how's our net income, how's our EBITDA, how's our revenue, all these big numbers, right? Which are super important. That's the scoreboard of business. You have to know those things. But if you constantly tell these people, hey, I'm trying to not, use this word as much in my conversation, or I'm trying to be better that I don't digress in conversations. When you see me do that in my business communication, will you make me aware of it? For me, I digress often in tangible stories that are part of what we need to do. Have those people be committed to that because that also is being the pursuit of excellence, which is finding the small little tiny things about yourself and making it so that you can improve those in all aspects.
Setting the stage by making people feel comfortable that they can make those comments back to you. And that's really the essence of leading with confident humility. Clark, where can we find you if anybody wants to have a follow-up conversation?
Yeah. I think the best place is on LinkedIn, linkedin.com/in// Clark T. Bell. I post every Tuesday about something that I strongly believe in or a current event or, about these things that I talked about here today about, purpose, leadership, pursuit of excellence. I'm also a contributing author to Fast Company. I have an article go up almost on a monthly basis. So you can go to Fast Company and type in Clark T. Bell, and you can see one of the recent articles that I've put together. That's probably the best way to find me.
Okay. And the show knows for anybody to see on the platforms.
Wonderful.
Give me a closing thought or a comment that you want people to hang on to.
Um, I think for me, the two most powerful ingredients that I've been able to see in all people, despite athletic ability, despite IQ, despite, familiar circumstances where you come from, are these two things. One, grit, two, ambition. If you have that combination of grit, ambition, which I have, if you have those two combinations, there's not going to be many things that are going to be able to stop you from achieving what you want to do in your pursuit of excellence.
I love it, and it's goes right with dream big, but you need to act small, and you should not do it alone in order to be able to go on that pursuit of excellence. So thank you very much for a great conversation. And again, to the audience, the key takeaway here is to do something with those thoughts. Right? You can dream, but if you don't do anything with it, you use that grit, that pursuit of excellence, document it, measure it. Get an accountability buddy. Make sure that you make progress to an end goal that you set. And that is your goal, not my goal, but your dream, not my dream. With that said, again, go to the Apple Store, download the Dutch Mentor app. In there, you can find all the information you need, including this podcast, where you can go on your pursuit of excellence and use an individual development plan as a way of documenting your journey and finding those key milestones. Again, Clark, thank you very much for being here and sharing your story. It was very insightful, and I wish you much success in the agriculture business, which can be tough business from time to time. But I think you're on the right track. Efficiency will lower cost and increase revenue, and we all know that our farmers need that to survive
Yes.
another day. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today, and look forward to seeing all of you at the next. Leave a comment, a like, and reach out to Clark for additional information. Have a good day, everybody.